Hey guys, so it's been a few months since I last covered Manor Lords, and many of you have been asking me what the latest news is. Is it still on track to release this year, and what developments have been made since my last video? A demo was released late last year where an alpha version of the game was playable for a week, and a whopping 300,000 players downloaded it to check it out. So to say there's a lot of anticipation is a huge understatement. It's one of the most exciting new strategy games of the year. So in today's video, we'll be exploring everything new in Manor Lords, everything the developer Slavic Magic has been working on, from new unit designs and animations to work on various mechanics, and of course, the warfare aspect that we've seen so little about, and if there's any indication whether the game will actually be released into early access this year. Having gained a massive following in the strategy game community and often compared to Stronghold, Total War, Settlers, and others, Manor Lords promises to deliver essentially overlapping strategic mechanics and features all at once in a way that we don't see very often. Resource gathering and its balance with city building and population management of your kingdom, direct engagement and diplomacy with other nearby factions, bandits, and the church, pushing the boundaries of technology, and of course, medieval warfare in a Total War style with intricately detailed customization and historical realism. In the 2022 Steam Next Fest demo, we got to see how the city building and management aspect of the game would work, with the player engaging and gathering of nearby resources like wood or hunting animals for food, buildings like houses, farms, and other production centers, as well as managing the people in your little village, from fulfilling their religious needs to upgrading their houses with water and heating. It was so much fun to build up this little town, and especially in first-person mode where you could walk around and experience this beautiful medieval landscape. Since the demo, we've seen Slavic Magic improve the building mechanic for the Mott and Bailey, the tax office. We've seen some higher tier buildings and some new unit designs, which all looked really good. So much feedback was given during the demo, so a lot of what was worked on in the first half of 2023 was to fix issues players experienced and improve things like stability, clipping bugs, and other reported problems. But arguably, one of the biggest impacts of the success of the demo has been a huge increase in resource and development support for the game. Manor Lords opened up to official closed testing and now has almost 92 official testers. Slavic Magic also has lots of freelance development support for things like the UI, 3D modeling, or animation, and more recently, Manor Lords development hired a QAing company, which means they're really ramping up quality checks, polishing areas of the game that will launch into early access with, and making sure that there's a solid foundation in place for when it does launch to begin improving and fixing various areas right away. After all, this is an indie game. There are definitely going to be problems on launch, so having that support to iron things out, to me anyway, seems like a really smart idea. During the summer, it looks like naturally development has slowed down a bit as people go on holiday and take some time off, or at least there wasn't as much media being shared in the public on Twitter as Slavic Magic usually does. But in the last few months, we've seen some really interesting and encouraging updates. Animation, for example, has seen some big improvements with areas like facial gestures, which looks really cool. I'm not sure if there were proper facial animations during the demo, so it's really nice to see them working on little immersive details like that. There's also been work on smoothing out walking animations, which looks really well done, as well as villagers interacting with the well building, which, it's things like these that, maybe small on the surface, but they just go to show how much effort is going into making the small details of this world come to life and make it even more engaging for the player. It's details like this that stack up and compound to create visually stunning and immersive games. And finally, this one is my favorite. Slavic Magic released some animation work being done on charging infantry, which just looks so good. The facial expressions to the running motion, it's just really well captured and designed here. On the topic of warfare now, we've had a few images shared on new unit visuals and equipment, designs, as well as screenshots of troops marching in different types of weather, in formation, and in combat, which looks really good. I think this is one area we've seen some media around, but anything we've seen in the video format is years old. So to see the team is actively developing and testing medieval warfare in the game, unit design and combat engagement is really encouraging. It certainly doesn't seem like it's an area Manor Lords is leaving behind, at least, if you know anyone has any fears about that, and hopefully it will launch into with the early access version of the game as well. And in the last few months, we've also seen some really great development in the area of weather effects. So the region your town begins in now can go through huge weather events like drought or thunderstorms, and these are beautifully depicted here in these images where the grasslands can dry up or where lightning is shown striking in the distance. It actually looks really great and hopefully will have an impact on population happiness or agricultural production as well. That would be a really interesting, nice mechanic to have here. One of my personal favorite things about Manor Lords though, and I think many people would agree, is how construction works. Both in top-down view and also in first person. When you get up close and personal, you get to watch and experience workers putting together a building from scratch, gathering the lumber, arranging that initial structure, the design, coming together over a period of time, and then that final finished product in all its glory. Manor Lords buildings look so beautiful, and in recent times, we've seen Slavic Magic show off more new buildings under construction, finished towns, and even a close-up of a tier 3 town with stunning houses, fences, and streets. This for me is an area that is just so impressive to see. The UX and UI, as I said, has been improving as well to be cleaner, with, for example, the image here with the marketplace showing a more detailed view of various foods and supply and demand. Finally, I get the impression that there's been a general improvement on visuals across the board. Manor Lords was already a beautiful game, but I can see the landscape looks a bit cleaner, more crisp, with better looking textures and models. The various states of weather looks more real, or at least in the bird's eye view, looks better than how it was during the demo, and the buildings look much better as well. So it seems like, yeah, there's been just a blanket improvement to graphic fidelity, which is really nice to see. Overall, from the official Manor Lords Twitter to the Discord server and the images and videos shared, it seems like development is progressing nicely. I get the sense that the last 8 to 12 months has really been about polishing off areas that weren't quite there yet, getting proper testing in place to resolve any other unknown issues, improvements across the board to various features and mechanics, as well as the core of the game from UI to graphics. The Steam page still shows a release window for 2023 in which we have 4 months left, and given the demo was released to the public in November last year, I think it's safe to say we'll hear more official news ramping up in the next few months as we get closer and closer to the launch of the game. And that's it for today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you did, do give it a like and drop any thoughts or questions in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what you think about Manor Lords so far and all the latest developments I've covered here in this video. I will of course be making more videos as development news gets released, so if that sounds good to you and you want to follow along, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell button for notifications about especially new Manor Lords videos. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.